What's up, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel again. And today I'm gonna use English language pertaining to the question that I have written in my thumbnail. But first, would like to shout out my friend. I'm supporting her channel, the Baktas Patakas. Please subscribe also her channel. Probably I may also use my national language, which is the Filipino, so that my fellow Filipino will also understand and would also understand more what I'm going to discuss. Now I have questions. Do we really need English language, and how important to learn that language? Especially me, I'm a Filipino. Do I really need to learn English language, or you? Do you really need to learn it? And sa mga kababayan ko namang Pilipino, minsan tinatanong natin bakit kailangan nating matuto ng English. Ano ba ang meron dyan sa lingwaheng yan? Yan. And I want to share my experiences when I was abroad, when I was in Saudi Arabia. I had a conversation with my workmates, the Bangladesh and Indians, and we came across dealing with language, English, and I somehow corrected him of the mispronounced words, but it turned out into different perception, because he asked me, why are you correcting my pronunciation? Are you a native speaker? Is it your language in the Philippines? Is it really your native tongue in the Philippines? So I told him that it's not our native language, but we study English since elementary. So we know English well, and we study it from elementary to college. But then he asked me, is it really your language? And then I asked him, no, we just borrowed it, we just adopted it from America, who introduced us here, that language. And then again, he told me, informed me that did learning English language make you rich? Why is it until now your country still poor? So that is the argument, that is the issue. So I'm going to discuss to you how important is English language to us, the non-English speakers. Okay, but first we have to understand what is really English language. Of course, in history, English was formed. Actually, they were the tribes from Germany who settled in now called Great Britain. They are the Anglo-Saxons from west part of Germany, who migrated to the Isles of United Kingdom on 5th century. So that is the history of English. That's the beginning of the language. So many centuries passed, English was formed because of that tribe, the Anglo-Saxons. So English is somewhat similar. The original English is similar to German and part of French. So it is what's we called it conglomerated. It is yes, it is somewhat inter connected with each other. So that is why there are sounds in English that you could also find in German language or French language. So now, what is the impact of English language? The impact of English language to the world. By the time of conquest, the competition of Roman Empire and the British Empire, British also colonized different lands in the world, different countries. They conquered America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and then they are the richest group in the world. So that is the main reason why English is so influential. It's also by politics. Now I have to make a statement that this video is not about religion. It's not about politics. So we adopted, here in the Philippines, we adopted English because we also was conquered by the Americans. Americans introduced us this language and taught this language into our system, in our daily lives, in literature, in television, and in school. And guys, you have to take note that in every race has its own language, and language has its own subgroup, like dialects or the accent or the system of soundings, the system of pronunciation, the system of grammar construction. Example, United States of America has somewhat difference with the Canadians and the Australians. But anyway, they are all English speakers. Now, why is it that the world is accepting and the world is adopting? The world is, what we call this? Embracing this language. It's probably because of economy, probably because of trading, probably because of politics. Because English people, the English speaking people, they are influential. Take note that the United Nations is situated, or the headquarters is located in America, in New York. So what I'm trying to say here, it is the language that is so influential. Once you are trading with other countries, the influence of that country also would be what we call this evident. Example, the Spanish people conquered also the Philippines, so their culture, their language also somewhat adapted here, also introduced here. We have actually words from Spain, Spanish words. So in the turn of century, in the 21st century, English became part of economy, part of trading system. So having a business transactions with most influential and wealthy countries that somehow influence the world. Example, America, the number one buyer of oil of Saudi Arabia. So our Saudi Arabia is also adapting English so that they could also communicate to the English people, the English speaking people. Now, my question is, how really important is language? Now, once you have a language like me, Filipino, example, here in the Philippines we have different dialects. Actually, we don't have the mother tongue or the mother tongue of the Philippines, I'm referring to the mother language. It just somehow voted in Congress what should be our national language, and Tagalog or the Filipino won the votation in Congress in the Philippines. But Tagalog is not our mother language. Actually, it's not. We have different dialects here in the Philippines. I have my own native tongue, which is Waray-Waray, part of the eight dialects in the Philippines. So we just came out, formulated a language that the whole Philippines would understand. Now, why do we really need to have a standard language or a common language? Like in the Philippines, once I will go to another place, which a different dialect from me. Example, I am a Waray-Waray and then I will go to Cebuano speaking place. So what should I do? I am Waray-Waray and he is Cebuano. So how should we understand? Unless if I will also learn or study their language or their dialects. So that's the main reason why we have come up to formulate the national language so that Filipinos would understand. Everyone in the Philippines would understand so that there will be no problem with communication with Filipino. Now, in the world arena, I'm a Filipino, maybe you are an Indian, or he is in Spanish, or maybe the other one is Arabic. So how could we understand each other? Do we need to study different languages? The Spanish people should also study my language? Or should the Spanish people should also study the Arabic? Or what should we really need to understand? What should we really need to learn or study of? So that is why the world, the United Nations, also formulated a somewhat, we don't know, it's a law or what do we call this? We don't know if it's really a law, but it is somewhat an agreement that every country or the countries in the world, members of United Nations, should come up with only one language to use so that everyone should also understand, and that is English. Now, if I will go to Japan, if I don't know how to speak Japanese, so I need to speak English so that I could also communicate with them. And Japanese also would also study English so that we could also understand. He could also understand me, or they could also understand me. Now, the world should be in chaos if there's no common language. But it doesn't mean that language is above all. It is just a somewhat agreement so that everyone should understand. It doesn't mean that English is the dominant language in the world. Okay, now you already understood what is really the importance of language because it is part of communication. Once you don't know how to communicate with other people, maybe you will argue or conflict will arise. Now, why is it that English is so influential? I have here data that I have researched in Google. the most spoken languages in the world. I came up with an idea to present this to you so that you will understand. You will realize why is it that America or English became so influential in the world. Now, English people, as of my research, spoken by 1.132 billion people in the world. 378 million of which are native speakers. The rest of that number are those non-native speakers. Example, me, a Filipino. It is not my native language. It is our second language because our first language is Filipino. So we are part of those second language speakers of English. So with that number, we will know that if you are trading with other countries, the probability there, um, uh, the probability of that number, perhaps you will realize that you really need to learn that common language in that places, that countries. Example, if you're trading with the Philippines, if you are from other countries, you're from the other nationality, if you can speak our language, you have to speak to us in English. Either you're a Thai, or you're a Vietnamese, or Japanese, or Korean, or Singaporean, or Arabic, or Indian, you must speak to us, communicate to us with English language. So that is the first commonly spoken language in the world, the most spoken. The second one is the Mandarin Chinese. They have 1.117 billion speakers, the Mandarin Chinese. The Indian, they have the 615 million speakers, the Hindi language. Hindi. The Spanish people, they have the 534 million people who speak Spanish. And Arabic, they have 274 million people who speak that language. Now, I will talk to you about this Arabic and Spanish. We know that Spanish also is widely spoken, especially those countries conquered by the Roman Empire. So Spanish also is one of the biggest and widely spoken countries in the world. And the same with Arabic. In Bangladesh, they have the 265 million people. Now, regarding Hindi, Hindi is understood more than 1 billion people. They surpass the Chinese. Because Indian has the subgroups like Pakistan, the Bangladesh, and Nepal. So those countries, they understand Hindi. So that make up billions of people to understand that language. Now, why should we need to study English with that numbers? Now, English covers almost the map of the world. With the countries who speak English, like the South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, United States of America, and Canada, England. So those are rich countries. So the probability there, you are mostly have a trading or business transaction with those rich countries. That is why you really need to adopt that language. So you now understand why. Um, uh, now I may not sound or I will not force myself to be sound like as if I am a native English speaker, because it's not my language. As I have told you before, I have told you a while ago, I am just trying my best to let you understand. Because in the Philippines, you also have different soundings. English or language has something to do with soundings. There are sounds in English that we don't have. We just adapted it. Like in my dialect, we don't have soft A. We don't have E. We always have the E, the hard one. So that is why it's hard for us to adapt English, because we have different sounds. Now, learning English, you should have to understand. Actually, in my own observation with the languages in the world, English is one of the easiest to learn, to understand, to study of, because there is somewhat pattern that you just need to understand, like the alphabets, the letter A to Z. I have my video regarding that, and I hope you will watch also my video regarding how to pronounce the consonants and the vowel sounds, so that you will understand and learn English language. That is just basic uh, tutorial for you. Now, the way to understand English is to understand its people, their culture, the soundings, the phonemes. Once the vowel sound is paired with a consonant like B and A, like ba, or let's say B, A, and Y, that is bay, like that. So you have to understand how to sound if the letters are combined, are paired. That is called syllable, the syllabication now. So if you want to understand or to learn or study English, always listen to the English music, English movies, or search in the Google and read the English literature. Or probably you are from a different country, or you are different nationality. You could also refer the alphabets. You could also search in the YouTube how to pronounce the alphabets. I have also my own a video regarding that. So you have to study how the word is pronounced and what is the meaning of that word. Now, different countries, different nationalities has different soundings. Like Arab have different. Arab people have different tongue. They have different soundings, especially the Spanish. We are close to Spanish because our sounding almost the same. We have different alphabets. The Filipino letters have the same with the alphabets in America or in English people. The alphabets of English are the same with Spanish, the same with Filipino. The Arabic has different letters, different alphabets, so that is why it's very difficult to understand, to read. And the same with Chinese, the same with Japanese, the same with Thai or Indian. So what you have to do is to learn the letters and how to pronounce if the letters are combined. Like if you will combine C, U, and P. So how to pronounce it? It is pronounced as cup. Now, if you will combine C-O-P, it's cop. So that is how the English language is pronounced. That is the way to understand the English language. Now, I just want to make it clear, especially to my fellow Filipinos and other nationalities around the world. English doesn't make you intelligent. It doesn't make you smart one. It is just an edge. It is just an additional skill or knowledge to you that you're able to communicate with other people. Because in the world today, in our time, in our generation, in the first century, people are traveling from place to place. Now, because people are traveling from place to place, they find it hard to communicate with other people. So example, I have given to you a while ago, the example I have given you a while ago, if the Spanish people go to Netherlands, Netherlands has different language. Now, what are they gonna do? What if Japanese would also go to Australia? What if Koreans go to Thailand? What if Thailand or Thai people will also go to Saudi Arabia? So that would be in chaos. So we have to understand, we have to study English so that the world would understand. Because of misunderstanding, there would be a disagreement, and there would be, or there is a confusion. Once there is confusion, there would be conflict. So we are breaking barriers here, barriers of communication, barriers of language. If you want to say something, you have to express. Now, how could you express if someone doesn't understand what you are talking about? Okay. When should we apply English language? We have to apply this once we are talking to someone has different language than you. Like me, I'm a Filipino. So how could you talk to me if you don't know how to speak English? And where? Where sometimes is a place. Where is also sometimes a state of condition. Like if you are in America, you should be you should talk their language like English. And if I will be in Saudi Arabia, I should also speak their language, Arabic, but I must learn to speak English if I don't know how to speak Arabic. And someone should also speak to me in English so that we could understand. So, where should we speak English? Especially the time when someone talking to you of different nationalities, as I have said a while ago, that doesn't understand your language. That is why you really need to speak English or understand English. And especially if you are going to English-speaking countries, and to whom you have to speak English. You have to speak English to whom? To someone again who doesn't understand your language. And you should apply this international language so that we could understand each other. Now, I may not sound a native speaker, English speaker. I hope the way I talk, I hope you understand the way I talk, and I hope I explained it well. What is the importance of learning English language, and how really important speaking or learning English, because there are also countries seem like they don't need to learn. There are countries in the world that they don't embrace English. There are countries in the world that it's not a must. They just don't care. Now, English, as a common medium so that the world should understand. I hope everyone should also learn or study that language. And again, it doesn't mean that you know English, you are smart. No, it's not. It is just a way of communication. The same with your language. And English doesn't mean it is the dominant language in the world. So just to clarify, I am an English major, and I studied this language. I chose this language because I am also fond of going to other countries, and I'm also planning to go back to other countries. And it is an edge for me. That is why I could also communicate with other nationalities in the world, because I learned that language and I studied that language. It is my major here in the Philippines. I hope I somewhat shared my knowledge in English to you, and I will be doing another vlogs, and I will be sharing to you on how to really learn English language so that you will also learn through my YouTube channel. And to those native speakers, the English native speakers, I hope you also understand. You have to understand other nationalities. Maybe we don't pronounce it perfectly, because I have said a while ago, it's not our native tongue. And from this video, you will realize that how we, the non-English speakers, find it hard to study your language and to adjust to your language. And you have to also understand other countries who don't speak English, and it is not their language, it's not a must in their countries. And so by this video you will realize that there are countries in the world that seem don't care of learning English language. And I hope you really understood what I am saying. And thank you very much for watching to my YouTube channel. And keep on subscribing to my YouTube channel. And I hope you will share this. And I will make another language tutorial, English tutorial, next video, in my next video. And I hope it would be a better one. Because this one right now is just a bit of abrupt, a bit of a little bit of somewhat unplanned, but it is just somewhat like raw. I didn't plan this one. I didn't formulated the pattern on how to share this message, giving information, giving ideas, giving tips to everyone. So thank you very much, guys, and thank you for sharing my videos. And those who want to shout out, or to those who want me to shout you out, you just click the notification bell or write your comments down, and then I will read your comments and I will shout you out. And just specify what country you are from and your real name. So thank you very much, and keep on watching to my YouTube channel.